Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Alpha 3.23.1a is now out and being tested on the PTU servers. It's actually currently open PTU, meaning that anyone with a Star Citizen game package can try that patch out. You just need to copy your account across on the RSI account section of the website and then select the PTU drop-down from the launcher to get involved. There have actually been a couple of PTU patches over the last few days, and we're going to be taking a look at the contents of these and a couple of dev responses, as well as a sort of state of the PTU. So Alpha 3.23.1a is highly focused on Jumptown, XenoThreat, and exploit updates. Jumptown was being tested out in the first iteration of the patch. I believe it's still running actually, and XenoThreat is now running, or at least was, on the PTU servers being tested. So this patch will be released before XenoThreat Fleet Dynamic event or the Javelin event go on the live servers, otherwise now known as the Overdrive Initiative Phase 6 missions. There is a load of updates in there. There's the sort of interior of the Idris for Idris boarding as part of the fleet battle. There's new cargo, though I haven't seen that. A load of ship loadout updates and AI updates here as well. And just a ton of the things in the last couple of patches all sort of compounded together to make that experience, hopefully, a load better. Now, things like Jumpdown as well, and the running of these events, there seems to be less desync, although I didn't notice any, but your mileage is going to vary based on when you play and how many people are online and that sort of stuff. Wasn't many people playing on the server I was on. Potentially it might have been a fresh server, so seeing stuff like Jumptown, seeing stuff at XenoThreat seems to work pretty well. But are we going to have problems with desync and invisible characters when servers are really hard pressed, full of people, and the server's been up and running for a while? Maybe. And how is Jumptown and XenoThreat going to deal with if a server crashes and the server recovery process? I'm not sure how dynamic events deal with those sort of things. So tons of interesting data is being gathered by CIG at the moment from running that sort of set of dynamic events and that patch. So get involved with those, give feedback. Master modes and that sort of stuff has obviously changed these events somewhat, and there's been big updates with the A2 being nerfed and stuff like that to make Jumptown a little safer. The Firebird and Retaliator got some big buffs in the patch as well. They've increased the Saber Firebird's missile count from 12 to 24, basically a full reload of missiles, and the Saber Firebird hull armor has been updated to actually have 40% signature and emission reduction, so it's a lot more stealthier than it previously was. It was incorrectly set at 20% reduction previously. They updated the Retaliator as well to have size 3 guns on all the turrets, and updated the turret constraints. An update to all ships, they've removed the vehicle entrance markers when in a different zone or if you're too far away from them now. They've made further client optimization improvements and vehicle hit damage network performance optimizations as well. So should be hitting stuff more accurately now, and that be reflected on both client and server, what is actually happening over a lot of different things. They've also reduced the salvage cover-up mission rewards. Both patches as well addressed a load of really quite important bugs. So they addressed load of 30k and disconnect issues. They fixed missing Jumptown locations. There were updates and additions to Jumptown relatively recently. I think some people that haven't tried Jumptown for a while will be like, well, this is an entirely new location. Some of the stuff's been moved around. They've updated some of the locations quite a bit. AI reactions have seen big updates, or at least bug fixes. Issues with shields and thrusters, lots of those have been solved. Interaction problems, there's bug fixes for various missions, issues with precision targeting, areas of no oxygen on some ships have been solved. The multi-tool and tractor beam has seen a few fixes, and there's just a ton of fixes for client and server crashes as well. They've also addressed a memory leak and out-of-system memory issue, which was causing me some grief. There was an exploit with the cover-up salvage mission as well that got solved. You could basically just fly out of the mission area quickly, and that would actually complete the quest. I believe that CIG are doing some more fixes for ground vehicles and tanks as well, making them feel like they've got the appropriate mass, so that should actually feel a lot better in 3.23.1a rather than 3.23.2, which is also being worked on. I do believe they fixed or are fixing some of the duping exploits as well, some more of the exploits in general. There are a series of known issues that Cloud Imperium are still working through to improve the whole 3.23 patch cycle, and that are mentioned here. Player corpses won't despawn at Grimhex. That is a feature, not a bug. Bunker elevators do not return up when called. Female social AI aren't present around Lorville. The ASOP terminals for ground vehicles at Lorville Gate keeps getting stuck in an infinite load screen. There are misaligned HUD markers with ultra-wide or TSR graphics upscaling. When that's enabled, that also causes the same problem. Elevators can show up, but their doors remain closed. Also, general transit and trams and trains and shuttles, they can intermittently get desynced and go off course. Ship warning and alert text is very small and can be difficult to read. You can't repair, refuel, or restock at the Pyro Gateway jump point station. Distribution centers, security point, checkpoint, elevators can break. The tutorial objectives can be soft locked by a player leaving the bed too early. Weapons reloads are invisible, so the magazines are invisible when reloading from a backpack. The Scorpius Antares is unable to activate its EMP. The Reclaimer's Claw cannot deploy. There's a workaround for that though, just literally press the power button again. In Squadron Battle, friendlies are showing up as enemies, and in Gravel races, players can sort of launch far above the track when hitting bumps. I do think the Starfarer refuel and docking is still broken, and there are still various issues with Klesha Prison. There's loads of other bugs beyond that as well that Cloud Imperium will be looking at and focusing on. Obviously, a lot of that stuff goes into the Issue Council and is triaged. This A patch should actually really help with a load of problems with that 3.23 cycle. And on paper, really solid patch, especially if CIG clean up some more of those known issues. From playing it, it seems to be highly optimized, so I'm not getting the hitching problem that I was previously having. Stuff seems to be working okay, but I didn't test it for too long, and I'm not sure how under strain my server was, because often when CIG run events like Jumptown or like XenoThreat, and there's loads of people on your server, it just causes issues. Just wanted to share a few little dev responses that I saw online. One question, Sniper Glint. To be honest, I have seen more complaints about this than I've seen somebody sniping it in-game. I'd recommend some kind of drone backpack to detect nearby threats over Glint, but to be honest, I haven't actually seen it yet. CIG responded, with Glint, it was fairly sort of low cost as a thing to implement. We wanted to trial with souped up sniper rifles, allowing a lot more of them to one-hit kill at very long range, whilst also making sniping much harder in general. It's not something we're super attached to, but we're seeing how it plays out currently. So we know things like they wanted you to have to really manually zero in your weapon and that sort of stuff. So you'd have to really know your distances, and it's going to be hard to hit at super long ranges, things like that as well. So bear that in mind. Obviously, they are trying to dial this in and work out what is the best feel for Star Citizen for sniper and long-range gameplay. Is the LH-86 handgun meant to be fully auto only? I would like a semi-auto mode for it. Yep, you trade off style over substance with a lot of Gemini weapons, powerful close quarter combat with the accuracy trade-off and not having the versatility of other pistols. This doesn't make sense at all. What the hell? There's no reason for a fully automatic weapon not to have a single fire select option unless it's a huge machine gun. CIG responded again, that's what Gemini want. They don't want their stuff not looking cool. That's why they have a lot of high fire rates that aren't super practical. And yes, I'm aware the S71 exists, and it's a good question why Gemini have a marksman rifle of all things, but it aligns with what the manufacturer exists for. If you want something purely practical, use bearing weapons. I think that's a totally fine response. Look, it's a game at the end of the day, and they want this manufacturer has fully automatic weapons, even the pistols. They don't have the versatility to be able to change it to single shot. Another thread, how come the Paladin helmets are not classified as combat helmets and don't include that dynamic crosshair? Zach Priest from CIG responded here, why doesn't this have a combat visor? Because it's not a combat helmet. It's a different archetype that's being worked on. We're giving some helmets a second look, but for the most part, we have everything archetyped up in a sheet. Some context that will make more sense in the future when more armor archetypes come online. FPS teams have been on the persistent universe for 3.23 since focusing on Squadron 42. So far, we've delivered one archetype. A follow-up here. Your post reads as though it's still figuring things out. We love you guys interacting with us, but sometimes being more matter-of-fact helps out interpretation issues. So the response here was, game dev is a bit funny like that, because from our end we go, these are the archetypes of all these armor sets, and we make these nice, balanced, rounded out choices, get everyone on board, everyone is happy. We then have the combat helmets have their functionality turned on. fab. But from your end, you just see these helmets that look like combat helmets and go, why aren't they combat helmets? They make sense in our planning and future context, but without the full context, it can seem weird. But we'd rather get these more limited to archetypes out, get feedback and adjust, as opposed to waiting before it's too late to tweak. It's really easy to define what is which archetype on the data side, so we see your feedback and go, maybe we should make some more of these combat helmets because in the current context that makes sense. It's not so much unpreparedness, but being flexible and willing to adapt to feedback for the present context. But that's the nice thing about working on Star Citizen, is that we can get things to you early, adjust course depending on what people say, but it's a double-edged sword since you need to have a lot of future planning and context that you need to then playtest and prove out. The response is obviously a little wordy, but yeah, I totally get what CIG are saying there. Basically going, look, we've got deeper context for some of this stuff, and we're trying to get some of these archetypes in so that you can look at them and give us feedback on them. I'm sorry if not everything is exactly as you expect it, or some things aren't getting these features, but we want them to be tested with the ones that do have the new dynamic crosshairs. Test those out on them. There's more archetypes coming, and some of these other armor sets or helmets will fit into those archetypes. Yeah, and that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I'm really interested to know what you are thinking about 3.23.1a and the running of Jumptown and XenoThreat that's going to be run on that patch, assumedly before 3.23.2 comes out. And we're expecting 3.23.2 and all those cargo features probably towards the end of June, but XenoThreat at the very least to be run probably next week. Are you playing 3.23.1a, and what do you think of that patch if you have been playing it? Are you excited for seeing these events run again? Are you going to be joining in with them? Whatever your thoughts or questions, please chuck them in the comments below. And check out our links down below for things like nordvpn.com/BoredGamer, giving you a big discount on NordVPN and helping the channel out. And we've got eye tracking stuff down below as well with just links galore. Click on all the links, buy all the things. May in Star Citizen is about fleets and Fleet Week and flying with friends, and we've partnered up with Lunar Wolves, a Star Citizen org, to give away a fleet of ships. Commenting on any of my videos during the month not only gets you a chance to win a Spirit C1, but also a Constellation Andromeda, a Vanguard Sentinel, and a Corsair, courtesy of Lunar Wolves. They'll each be going out to a different winner chosen randomly from the video comments. But wait, there is more. Sign up to the Lunar Wolves recruitment page, link down below, for a chance for even more ships, including an RSI Polaris with lifetime insurance and a Hornet F7C Mark II. Winners of those will be selected randomly from eligible org signups. Lunar Wolves welcome all that share their passion for adventure and love of Star Citizen. You can learn more about them on their org page or at lunarwolves.org. If you would like to further support our channel, please like, subscribe, comment, share these videos. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, and I would love you to, please consider becoming a Patreon or clicking that join button under my videos. It goes a huge way in allowing us to make daily content and keep the channel going. You'll get some exclusive content from that as well. Only time Zin and I can actually put it out, as well as help evolve the channel with polls and suggestions and that sort of stuff. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and have a great May. It's going to be a good one.